we've talked about it before. It seems like expansion is happening. It's going to be happening again. I don't know if I've said this on this podcast, but I had a guess of four new teams by 2030, or at least four announced new teams by the end of 2030. We've heard so much about Houston. We've heard so much about Atlanta. It kind of, I don't know if we didn't get anything from this GM meetings, but we did hear stuff before about people that are potentially interested in bringing like a whole district to the. I don't think it's in downtown Atlanta. I believe it's in nearby Athens, if I'm not mistaken. So it would be like the state of Atlanta team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, like
Um,
Anson Carter's group or
Sorry, like the
whatever, I
state of
think, right?
Georgia.
Yeah.
That's my mistake.
Sorry, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But they would still be called the Atlanta something. I think that's kind of like the guess.
You gotta
And
if they brought the team back, would you go back with Thrashers or would you start anew? To be honest, I kind of think you have to do Thrashers, personally.
I mean, you have the Jets, so I wouldn't see. I think the state of Georgia deserves the Thrashers, personally.
Yeah.
I don't know if they want
I would
it, but
love.
they deserve it.
See, but this is the thing is there is so little fans in the first place that you basically already like started with a
They're
clean slate. Like you can
the
already build a new quote unquote
the
fan
problem
base
was
and they don't have the tainted memory.
they did have the fan base. The problem was that they
Yeah.
bungled it from the beginning. Like they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
mismanaged it. I saw this one video. If I could find it again, I gotta find the person. I saw this one video just kind of detailing like the Atlanta Thrashers. It was like an hour long. You can find it on YouTube. I bet you if I typed in Atlanta Thrashers documentary, I could probably find it. But this
Yeah.
one person made a like one of the best documentaries just detailing everything, like the little minute details about the franchise. If I could find that, I'm gonna send it to you and I will shout out this person on our next podcast. I fully believe Atlanta as a hockey city can work if the ownership put in place is right. And
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
already seeing it with Utah, man. Like you got somebody that's involved and wants the that isn't treating the franchise like a personal piggy bank like some owners.
Also has a track record, right? Like in sports. So
Yes,
that's a big thing. Like, and so you said like they like as a hockey city, like we can even remove the hockey part, like just simply numbers
sports city
game, population,
as a city.
Atlanta's a market. Yeah, like literally just as a group of people in one area, they can
Yes,
support a hockey team. And then you add in everything else. And I would also say, think about the difference between when the Thrashers were originally a expansion team versus what the expansion process has looked like for the Golden Knights and the Kraken. Like the NHL is also doing a better job of making sure an expansion team can succeed, right?
dude,
Like
it's so
night and
beyond
day.
me. It is beyond me how the well, like the Senators had a pre-built-in fan base, but how the Columbus Blue Jackets and like the Nashville Predators in particular survived all this
Against all
time.
odds, yeah.
They are quite literally like the nuclear cockroaches. Like they just refuse to die. There's an element of like
Yeah.
luck in your franchise and hiring people to like scout and develop young talent and that type of stuff that maybe Atlanta was put in a position they were no, the problem was that they weren't put in a position to succeed. Like sometimes luck has to go on your side, and it just seemed like Atlanta in general had no luck, but the
Yeah.
league also didn't put them in a position like Vegas
They
and
struck out
Seattle.
on they struck out on all the possible variables. Like it's like, well, if you don't have luck, you better have a good owner. Well, if you don't
Yeah.
have no luck and no good owner, you better have a league that puts you in like supports you. Well, if you don't have that, like you know, how many
Yeah,
times can
you're
you do it until
SOL,
you're done?
basically, right? Yeah.
And so yeah,
And
I
so
you
that's
mentioned like the
why,
video, like this Atlanta video. Like I'm just imagining the timeline in my head. It's just like awful, awful. Ilya Kovalchuk, really good. Awful, 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 awful. Like
and they weren't
that's
even
the history to me.
they were good. Like here's the thing, like
Yeah.
they were good for like they only made the playoffs twice.
Mm.
And I don't think they won a game in a single play, like in a play, or maybe they won once. So it's like you can't build a fan base like that. Like I'm sorry, like that
No,
just
no.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Even the Phoenix Coyotes, like in their first like 5
They had
years.
a
They
conference
yeah,
finals, and in the
conference.
COVID bubble year, they also they beat the
I'm
Predators
saying
in the qualifying round.
in the first 5 years of existence, they made a cup final, or I think a conference final.
Yeah, yeah, conference final, not
In
cup
their
final.
first
Yeah,
5 years of existence. Like, dude, Atlanta, it took them 10 years to even make the playoffs, like the first time. Sorry, Kate, we're getting off topic here, but I do have high hopes and excitement for new expansion teams coming in. I've heard the arguments against,
yeah,
like about going up to like 36. I think it's inevitable. So it's like kind of swallow your pills now, like get out all your gripes now because it is happening, whether we like it or not. There's just no conceivable world where you have the Atlanta, so the Georgia market, like the Atlanta and surrounding areas, and the Houston markets untapped. Like
yeah.
they are two of the biggest markets right now besides Phoenix, or like the
So it,
Arizona.
it basically feels like we have the four. Like, would you say that we have
We have three for
three or
sure.
okay? So four. You think it's still up for debate? Like, you think in a wonderful future where there's peace and no economic war in Canada, the US, we can have that Nordiques franchise be back, or is that like we can't
Uh
even like have we can't even dream there, right?
I
I don't
wish.
know.
I wish
Yeah,
I wish
still
they
a
would
question
just
mark though.
I
Okay.
wish the NHL would throw us a bone and just, you know, the problem is with the Nordiques is they would lose money. Like I
Yeah,
think that's a
I like
given.
definitely right now. Like, there's no way you're putting them like even
So
like forget about even ahead of Houston, Atlanta. Like if like the
yeah,
opportunity
they
came
are
up for
four.
expansion right now, like they yeah but you're probably even just saying no. Like they could have everything figured out, like you're saying, and the NHL could still be like, this isn't a for sure slam dunk for us. Like get a pass right now. Yeah,
So the
Houston or
Winnipeg
Atlanta. Yeah, okay, you got
sorry,
something.
like
Go
the
ahead.
Winnipeg Jets right now, they still operate on like on a loss. The only reason why they really still have a team and why they were brought in was because their owners, like they have deep
One of the
pockets.
richest. Yeah. Yep.
They are genuinely the richest family in Canada, and like that's a big reason why they're still like that they're in Winnipeg, and we're thankful for I believe it's the Thompson family. I'm thankful for them there
Yeah,
because
Thompson and Chipman, I think are the
yes, the
two, right?
Chipman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm thankful because like the problem is that you need somebody else like that. Like who else is going to carry on that load? Like I don't know if you could find somebody like that in the Canadian market, knowing that they're going to be working on an operating loss year over year. Like you're just
yeah,
not going to break even, maybe not for like 10 years, but at least there's like kind of like a guarantee in Houston, Atlanta.
yeah.
I even heard New Orleans. I
It's a weird one.
it's weird, but dude, I think hockey in New Orleans would be a great time. I think
I
that
mean,
would
who
genuinely be a
thought
great.
hockey in Vegas would be like as 10 out of 10 as it's been? Like, I think people could
I
have said
think it
like,
would
yeah, they'll
be
survive. People were already saying like, oh, the Raiders are going there. They're going to be in the shadow like within a couple years, right? Like, remember that was definitely the talk. And I mean, listen,
they
NFL on the
they're
whole,
never going to accept the Raiders because the Raiders aren't their own. They accepted the
yeah.
Golden Knights because like the Vegas Golden Knights
Uh,
are their
dude, you
own.
were in Vegas. Did you see more Raiders or
Oh,
Knights merch,
see, now
right?
it's tough because now I won 2 years in a row, and both years the Raiders have been hot ass. Like they've been bad.
Yeah,
So not
yeah,
only did you like rip a franchise out of their beloved home, you put them
yeah,
in a different city that doesn't even really want them there. If Vegas
yeah,
got an NFL team and they got an expansion team, that's a different story. We're talking about apples to oranges here. But the NFL, they decided to move the Raiders out of Oakland and kind of just throw them in Vegas. And the people in Vegas know what a facade looks like. You go to the casino, you know what when something's like a cheap trick, right? And that's kind of what the Oakland, like sorry, the Vegas Raiders are. The
yeah.
Vegas Golden Knights, on the other hand, are like going to the Venetian
Full
and watching
value
a
of your
show.
dollar, brother. Yeah,
Full value, dude.
yeah,
100%. And that's why they embraced that franchise more than the Raiders
yeah,
so far. And that's what gives me hope with um another team in Atlanta, another team in Houston, a team in Houston, another team in Houston because they had a team before, and a team in a city like New Orleans. I think hockey in the South, if done right, can be of success. I think it can
Yeah.
be.